Good morning. My name is Scott Thompson, Thomson. I'm the police chief of the Camden County Police Department, and I'm hosting today's event, so thank you all for joining us here today. In addition to the New Jersey Attorney General, Graywall, also joining us today is the Colonel of State Police, Pat Callahan, Deputy Director of Division of Criminal Justice, Jill Mayer, the Acting Special Agent in Charge of the FBI in Philadelphia, Steve McQueen, the South Jersey Resident Agent in Charge, Michael Messenger of the FBI as well, the Gloucester County Prosecutor, Chuck Fiore, his chief, Tom Gilbert. Representing the Camden County Prosecutor's Office today is Captain Terry King. Representing Voorhees Police Department is Chief Lou Bordy. Mount Ephraim Police Department is Chief Brian Conti. Deptford Police Department is Chief Kevin Pancoast. The Gloucester Township Police Department is Jason Giddings. And representing the Lindenwold Police Department is Captain Michael McCarthy. So the reason why we're joining here today is the Attorney General will announce a significant takedown of drugs and guns that have been affecting our region. On a larger, more overarching scale, I will say that we have reduced crime to a 50-year low in the city of Camden. And this is in large part because of the efforts of our law enforcement partners, most of all who are joining us here today. A rising tide lifts all boats when it comes to public safety. And the inner workings of local, county, state, and federal officials results in safer communities. And there's no greater evidence of that than here today. It was just last year that the general was down here and announced a similar initiative of a takedown, in which we took some really bad people, a lot of drugs and guns off of our streets. And it's not by happenstance that Camden and Camden County, southern New Jersey, and the state of New Jersey itself continues to become a safer place for people to live because of these law enforcement efforts, particularly coming from the leadership in the state of New Jersey by Attorney General. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in the state of New Jersey, Attorney General Grabir Graywall. General.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chief Thompson, for hosting us, and thank you all for coming. We're here today to announce charges against 12 men as part of our takedown of a criminal network, a network that allegedly trafficked in dangerous drugs and guns in and around Camden County. But what makes this case so important and truly a landmark investigation is that the members of this ring trafficked in what are called ghost guns. Ghost guns are guns that are assembled from kits purchased online. They're not registered. They don't have serial numbers. And they're sold without any background check process whatsoever. The 4 men we charge with trafficking these guns in this case are the very first defendants to be charged for manufacturing and distributing ghost guns under a new law signed by Governor Murphy last November. A law that makes it a crime to purchase, manufacture, possess, distribute ghost guns in New Jersey. And the reason we sought that law, and the reason the governor and the legislature stepped up to pass and enact it, is because ghost guns are a real and dangerous menace. They offer criminals, convicted felons, terrorists, domestic abusers, people who we all agree shouldn't own firearms, the ability to access them. They give them the ability to access a very deadly level of firepower that cannot be traced. At the time we sought the law, we knew that criminals were actively seeking and using these guns. And we knew that ghost gun manufacturers were exploiting loopholes in our existing laws to give criminals access to them. This alleged conspiracy being charged today among drug dealers and gun traffickers dramatically proves both of those points. The 4 men we arrested for gun trafficking allegedly conspired to sell 6 ghost gun AR-15 style assault rifles for prices ranging from $1,100 to $1,300 each. That's twice the price that these guns sell for on the legal gun market. In addition, as a result of the great investigative work by the agencies behind me, we also intercepted the parts for 2 more Ghost Gun AR-15 assault rifles. Orders that the defendants had allegedly shipped to Bensalem, Pennsylvania to get around our new law. You see, the defendants were well aware that New Jersey had criminalized these weapons. As we alleged in court last week, the men specifically discussed the fact that they could no longer ship these ghost guns to New Jersey. So instead, they found an address in Pennsylvania to send them to. One of their alleged conversations went like this and is on the board to my left. Quote, "All right, I just wanted to let you know that I just got confirmation it'll be here Sunday. So we got to go. They changed some laws, so we got to go over to Philly and pick it up." The arrests that we're announcing today are the results of Operation Stonewall, a year-long investigation led by the Division of Criminal Justice and the New Jersey State Police. An investigation that led to the arrest of 12 defendants, 10 of whom are charged with distributing drugs, primarily cocaine. And 2 of those 10 defendants are also charged with trafficking in ghost guns, along with 2 other men who are charged solely in connection with illegal trafficking of ghost gun AR-15 assault rifles. I'm joined to my right by Deputy Director Jill Mayer of the Division of Criminal Justice, and to my left by Colonel Pat Callahan of the New Jersey State Police, both of whom will share additional details concerning today's announcement. But as Chief Thompson mentioned, like all successful law enforcement operations, this case was a true partnership and a collaboration among state, county, local, and federal law enforcement partners. And we're joined by a number of our partners on this matter this morning. Chief Thompson named them all, but I want to thank them. I want to thank them for their partnership on this case and other ongoing matters that we are working together. There is simply no mistaking the connection between the drug trade and illegal guns. Again, this case is particularly alarming because it shows that the threat of ghost guns to public safety and to law enforcement safety is not abstract. It's real. It highlights the black market that exists among criminals for these untraceable guns. I previously said that the guns are sold in kits, but the reality is that they are 80% finished when they are shipped, and buyers finish them using parts sold by the same manufacturers, following simple instructions that are sometimes posted online. That's why even before our new law was enacted, I sent cease and desist letters to ghost gun manufacturers last June, warning them to stop selling their products into New Jersey or face legal action. Those investigations remain active and ongoing, and today's announcement underscores the need to continue our efforts to hold manufacturers accountable for helping evade background checks and registration requirements, and for putting dangerous, untraceable weapons in the hands of criminals in New Jersey. And we will, of course, aggressively investigate and prosecute all those who illegally traffic guns into New Jersey, including those ghost gun buyers and builders who violate our new criminal law. Because I think that's what public safety and law enforcement safety in this state requires. I commend all those who participated, again, in this outstanding investigation. We undoubtedly saved lives by taking untraceable guns out of the hands of criminals and off of our streets. Now it's my pleasure to turn the microphone over to Deputy Director Mayer, who will be followed by Colonel Callahan, after which we'll take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Grewal. Operation Stonewall began in early 2018 as an investigation of an alleged cocaine distribution ring in Lindenwold involving resident Lamont White, his son Tyreek Bradford, and an associate. Investigators soon developed information that White allegedly was obtaining cocaine from defendant Christopher Stoner of Lindenwold, who in turn was allegedly being supplied by 6 other defendants, including Nicholas Cillian of Mount Ephraim. The investigation expanded dramatically when we learned that Stoner was allegedly trafficking guns, including ghost gun assault rifles. We quickly pursued those leads and identified all of the men responsible for that illegal gun trafficking activity and obtained evidence regarding 5 separate sales involving a total of 6 AR-15 ghost gun assault rifles. The 4 men who are charged with the illegally trafficking ghost guns are Stoner, Cillian, Paul Coram, and Mark Freeman, both from Lindenwold. Those 4 defendants each face second and third degree charges related to the unlawful possession and sale of assault rifles. Also, of particular significance, those defendants are charged under the new ghost gun statute with the following third degree offenses: unlawful possession of a covert undetectable firearm, and unlawful manufacture, transport, and disposition of a covert undetectable firearm. Coram and Freeman, who allegedly purchased and assembled the ghost guns, face an additional third-degree charge under the new statute of purchase of firearm parts to manufacture an untraceable firearm. As the Attorney General noted, this is the first time any defendant has been charged in a ghost gun trafficking case under the new criminal statute. Second-degree charges carry a sentence of 5 to 10 years in prison, and third-degree charges carry a sentence of 3 to 5 years in prison. Stoner also faces first-degree charge of distributing cocaine, carrying a sentence of 10 to 20 years in prison. In addition, Stoner, Cillian, and the other 8 drug defendants listed in the press release are charged with second-degree conspiracy to distribute cocaine. The defendants are also charged with other narcotics and weapons-related offenses. On March 8th, getting into the details of the case a little bit, we executed search warrants at the residences of Stoner and Cillian and an apartment shared by Coram and Freeman. During the execution of those search warrants, we seized 3 handguns, 2 shotguns, some crack cocaine, approximately 120 oxycodone and Xanax pills, and several $1,000s in cash. In addition, tools used to assemble ghost guns were found at the apartment of Coram and Freeman. We also executed a search warrant at a residence in Camden associated with defendant Monroe Gadsden, where we seized 2 handguns, 3.5 pounds of marijuana, drug packaging materials, and $18,420 in cash. Coram was ordered detained in jail until trial at a detention hearing that was held last Friday. Stoner, Cillian, Freeman, Gadsden, and Bradford are all being held in jail pending detention hearings this week. White is in Northern State Prison on a prior conviction unrelated to this matter. The other 5 defendants were released subject to conditions following detention hearings held last week also. I want to recognize just a few people responsible for the tremendous effort and success of this operation. From the Division of Criminal Justice, Gangs, and Organized Crime Bureau, Deputy Attorney General Cassandra Montalto to my left, who's the lead prosecutor in this case, Deputy Bureau Chief Eric Dabb, and Bureau Chief Lauren Scarpa Yafantis. From the New Jersey State Police Gangs and Organized Crime Bureau South Unit, Detective Ryan Cunningham, who's the case agent, and his supervisors, Detective Sergeant Dorothy Quinn, Detective Sergeant First Class Michael Davis, and Lieutenant Dan Strassheim. Of course, I too want to thank all of the agencies and individuals who participated in this investigation who were mentioned by Attorney General Graywall. Drugs and illegal guns are the dual catalysts driving most of the violence on the streets of our cities, and we allege that this criminal network was distributing both. Through proactive investigations like Operation Stonewall, we are working with the New Jersey State Police and other law enforcement partners to make our communities safer. We will continue to pursue all leads related to ghost guns and will aggressively investigate and prosecute anyone who manufactures, possesses, or distributes them in New Jersey. Thank you. I'd like to turn it over to Colonel Callahan.
My remarks will just basically echo what Chief Thompson, Attorney General Graywall, and what Deputy Director Jill Mayer touched upon. You seldom see an investigation of this magnitude, or at least a press conference for it, with one agency standing up here at the podium. And maybe a long time ago it was about who got to stand here, but I can tell you that's not the case anymore. There's a dozen different agencies involved in this investigation across federal, state, county, and local departments. The weapons and drug traffickers would bank on us not communicating and not streamlining our efforts to combat the weapons and drug trafficking. But today, in this event, and this investigation just underscores how far we can come when we collaborate and how effective we are. Every agency represented here does an outstanding job on its own, but when we collaborate and we work together, it results in investigations like this that ultimately makes the citizens of New Jersey safer. And it's my honor to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of these agencies, both here today and across the state. The men and women of the state police will certainly continue to serve in that capacity, and I'd like to thank everybody represented here today for a phenomenal job. General.
So with that, we're happy to take your questions on topic.
General, you've talked in the past about why those guns are so dangerous that anybody can just order them online and then put them together. Primarily, was this just a situation where this group of individuals, they were taking it upon themselves to order the guns, put them together, and then it's just like they're for sale, so it's even easier than ordering it online?
That's right. I mean, that's part of the problem with ghost guns that we've highlighted in prior news conferences and prior announcements, that it allows individuals, whether they be individuals who are engaged in gun trafficking, who want to assemble these firearms, to assemble them and then sell them, and they're untraceable, and we have no background check or registration process to figure out who's buying them and whether they're qualified to buy them. But it also gives the ability to individuals to go online, buy nearly completed firearms, the kits to complete them, and directions online on how to complete them to do so. We enacted the new law in November. I'm happy that this conversation at least revealed that one manufacturer was complying with our new law and decided then to not ship to New Jersey and ship to these defendants to Pennsylvania. But more work remains to be done, and our investigations of other ghost gun manufacturers are ongoing.
Could you talk about that a little more, the other companies? What's the status?
So I have no details that I could share at this time other than to say we sent those cease and desist letters last June. The law was enacted in November. We continue to investigate actively any companies attempting to sell ghost guns or ghost gun parts into New Jersey, and those investigations are ongoing. And at a future date, we'll have an announcement to make on the results of that investigation.
Could they be prosecuted?
If they continue to prosecute, they could be prosecuted under existing laws and under our new law if they continue to sell into New Jersey after the enactment of this particular law in November.
Is there any follow-up, if I may? Are any of the guns unaccounted for? Did any of the ghost guns that got purchased and got made get out?
So there were a number of investigative steps that were taken in this case. The director mentioned that search warrants were executed at a number of locations, and we are following that evidence wherever it leads if there were additional ghost guns that we determined based on our investigation that were sold, we'll follow that evidence wherever it may lead. But I don't have anything more to add to that now.
Was
Yeah.
there any indication that the company that sold these pieces that ended up in Venezuela had any idea that they would be purchased from the traffic into Jersey?
So, here's the part of the problem with ghost gun manufacturers. When you have responsible manufacturers, when you have businesses that are following the rules, they know their customers. And when you see repeatedly the same address and the same individuals at the same location continuing to order parts and parts and parts and parts for the same types of guns, some red flags have to go up. That what's going on here is not somebody who's an enthusiast or a hobbyist, but rather someone who's engaged in illegal trafficking. And that is part of the problem with ghost gun manufacturers, that they are playing fast and loose with our rules and looking for loopholes in existing laws that they exploited until we closed one. And in this case, then they took their operations to Pennsylvania. So we will continue to use whatever tools we have to hold ghost gun manufacturers accountable for their participation in trafficking firearms. I'm going to go to Cleve.
So we hear about gun confiscations all the time when we get press releases as part of various investigations. Can you give a sense of what makeup of the illegal gun market that ghost guns are at this point?
I couldn't give you a percentage, but I could say that we recovered 6 in this particular case. We recovered parts for 2. We've probably recovered, just the state police alone, over 15, well over 15 in the last year. So we are starting to see them at crime scenes. We are starting to see them in our investigations. That's why I say they are not an abstract threat. They are a real threat to public safety, to law enforcement safety. And I think no matter where you come out on guns, we can all agree that there are people, criminals, domestic abusers, terrorists, others who should not have firearms, and we need to have a background check process. And this particular scheme and the manufacture and sale of ghost guns does an end around on that process.
I just want to hear a little bit about where this compares with the problem of straw purchases as far as the import of other weapons in New Jersey.
So I would still say that straw purchasers and other trafficking rings remain the largest source of firearms trafficked into New Jersey. When we were here with Chief Thompson last year, we announced the results of an investigation involving straw purchasers who are buying guns in Ohio and then bringing them into New Jersey and selling them to the streets in Camden. 80% of our firearms in New Jersey come from out of state. The majority of them come from Pennsylvania, and that's why the Colonel, along with the state police, we are putting out information in our gun stat reports to highlight the trafficking of those firearms from other states. And 485 or so in the last quarter of 2018 came from other states. Those are not ghost guns because we're able to track them back to their point of sale, and that still remains the #1 problem and source of illegal firearms on our streets.
So if you guys are talking more about collaboration among different agencies within New Jersey, and you know that the guns are coming from out of state,
Yeah.
how is that interstate collaboration or communication working out?
It's increasing. I think New Jersey is a leader in this effort. The governor signed on to a coalition of other governors called States for Gun Safety. We have had conversations, without going into the specifics, with our partners in our neighboring states and in other states about taking the information that our state police does an incredible job in gathering at the ROC, at the Regional Operations Intelligence Center, and to share that information, to go back to the point of sale, and to hold either if it's a bad dealer, a bad faith dealer, or straw purchasers accountable. I'll go over there.
How many cease and desist did you send out? How many people did you identify as people who put kits together?
Yeah, so in order just to preserve the integrity of that investigation, I don't want to share that information at this point, but we'll have an announcement at a future date regarding those efforts.
And are you alleging that it basically is a business model where people are taking an existing AR platform, breaking it down, and then selling it in random parts?
What they're doing is selling 80% complete guns. They're not taking existing guns, but creating the parts for new ones. And so and this is to evade federal and state laws. They fabricate the lower part of these guns, the 80% complete portions, and then sell the remaining parts. And then in some cases provide links to YouTube videos on how to complete them. And so it's doing a complete end around process we have in place to ensure public safety and law enforcement safety here in New Jersey. Right here, Sean.
Did any of these assist guns and parts for two, were they sourced from companies subject to your cease and desist letter?
So again, I don't want to get into the details of that separate investigation at this point, so I can't answer that one right now. Go ahead, Sean.
General, can you help me understand a little bit better the interplay between the two state laws here? So I think it's fair to say that the sale of these firearms in either state is already a crime. Is that correct?
If they qualify as assault weapons, right? Yep.
And so what sent the defendants over to Pennsylvania was the manufacturer refusing to ship to New Jersey?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And these were determined to be for sale to New Jersey residents or in New Jersey?
So that manufacturer refused to sell the parts for these weapons into New Jersey. Ghost guns, right, to the manufacture and sale of ghost gun parts into New Jersey. So that's what prompted them, we allege, based on the conversation that's on this board, to sell into Pennsylvania.
Have you discussions with the Attorney General of Pennsylvania?
I have.
And what
So I would, we've had preliminary discussions about increased collaboration, about sharing of information, about using our mutual intelligence to identify bad faith dealers and further our investigations. But they are aware of our efforts with respect to ghost guns. We joined together on a number of matters with respect to 3D printable guns in the past. So we continue to have a lot of conversations about increasing public safety in our respective states.
Could you release the name of the manufacturer that
Not until our other investigation is complete.
General, for those of us who don't know, could you give us a sense of how dangerous is an AR-15? What can it do that, for instance, a handgun or a rifle can't do?
I think that's a difficult question to answer because I think both can inflict harm and can be fatal if used. If a bullet from a handgun can kill somebody and a bullet from an AR-15 can kill somebody. So it's hard for me to answer that question.
I mean, is it rapid fire? Is it more than one shot at a time?
That's right. I mean, some of it is that the automatic nature of the weapons, and part of our statutes speak to that. What Sean was referencing with our assault weapons ban in New Jersey, and the laws that criminalize those particular weapons. But certainly, if you have the ability to fire additional rounds in a shorter period of time, it increases the ability to inflict harm. But both are dangerous when in the hands of the wrong people. Yep.
I know you're not one of the lawmakers that made the law, but looking into the genesis of it, is there a tie between ghost guns and mass shootings?
I can't make that link. I could tell you that we are doing everything we can to ensure that only those individuals who go through the proper process are able to purchase handguns and firearms in this state, and we're doing everything possible to make our communities safer from gun violence, to protect our communities from incidents of mass violence, and certainly eliminating the ability for individuals who don't go through a process to purchase a firearm, who evade a background check process, certainly is a step towards public safety and law enforcement safety at a bigger scale.
General,
Yeah.
can someone walk us through, once the guns at 80% complete arrived in Van Salem, did they get finished being built on the Pennsylvania side?
New Jersey.
And there's several towns mentioned in New Jersey, so where did they go from there specific to New Jersey?
So the director referenced that the gun-making parts were recovered at the Lindenwald location. So beyond that, I can't add more to what's already in the public record.
Good?
There was a hand right here.
No.
Okay. Great minds think alike.
Where they
Yeah,
were going.
yeah, yeah.
Just as one follow-up to the gentleman in the front, because I think what he was asking was, were there, beyond those cards now, were there buyers? Was there somebody with the name tag on these guns to buy? And
So-
were you talking to those people?
So we're continuing our investigation. The investigation is ongoing with respect to the question you asked.
Were the people who were involved here known to be part of any gang affiliation or set that you see operating in Camden City? I recognize some of them were located, but was this organized beyond just a couple of people?
So we don't have anything to add publicly with respect to gang affiliation or things of that nature at this point.
General, you had mentioned the link, or somebody mentioned the link between guns and drugs creating most of the violence in New Jersey. Could you expound on that, explain why that's the case? Is it like
Sure.
a perfect match for problems?
I mean, I think when we look at our major cities, we see, and I'll just give you one example. If we look at violence in Trenton, most of the violence that we're seeing in Trenton, most of the shootings that we are seeing in Trenton, most of the incidents that we're seeing, violent incidents that we're seeing in Trenton, are around territories and turfs where people are selling drugs, and it's neighborhood gangs protecting their own space in which to engage in criminal activity, which, in our experience, more often than not, is the drug trade. And so I think that's what the deputy director was touching on, about the twin evils of dangerous drugs and dangerous guns, and this case being a perfect example of those two dangers coming together. All right, thank you. Why don't we let the folks exit? Yeah.